Hello and welcome to another fantasy world building video of mine, and today we are going to take a closer look at how a realistic adventurer guild would work in an actual fantasy setting, because our understanding of fantasy adventurer guilds is mainly coming from video games, where they are often just a convenient way of receiving many different quests without having to talk to half the tavern or city in order to get them. And this is something that could actually be kept in, because adventurer guilds would come in basically two flavors. The normal guild would be basically an anti-monster mercenary unit, basically the witchers of the world. So rather than fighting the giant tree-legged terror birds themselves, the army of, let's say, advenuturer will just issue a quest. Slay dangerous beast, receive a lot of money. Or maybe the adventurers just earn the right to sleep in any military barracks, and now can basically travel anywhere in the entire country in exchange for slaying some orcs, goblins, wolves, and whatever else the locals want to see dead. And any local military installation, for example a chapter of knights, would now have another strong unit of battle-hardened fighters at their disposal whenever they would rest there. Or maybe the adventurers won't be paid by coin, but by some sort of royal privilege that they are now allowed to exercise. Maybe they will earn the right to bear arms publicly, or to arm bears publicly, you know, as a betamont. Or to buy arms directly from the finest military craftsmen, you know, something that would actually help them. And maybe this will also be how the army, the royal troops, or the knightly orders will recruit. Do X amount of quests and get a job in the royal capital city. Become a guardsman, get a knighthood, and some land of your very own. So it doesn't have to be money that is paid to the adventurers at all. And this last concept of handing out knighthoods in exchange might also be a great way to be cost effective and to weed out all of the weaklings who will just die in battle. So what I'm essentially saying is that quests would be a lot more flexible and less formalized than in many anime or games. But I think there would also be a second part, a detective guild. Someone who gets hired by officials to catch thieves, murderers, or maybe a treasonous noble. So while the monster hunter part of the guild hunts monsters, aka external threats, the detective part of the guild would fight crime and other internal threats. For example, if illusion magic is a thing, and virgin girls are disappearing en masse in remote villages, to the point that the local nobility has to sleep lonely, a detective team would be sent out first, use illusion magic to either project the image of a hot virgin girl, or to disguise one of the more battle-hardened members in this way. And once the bait is set, and the ugly bastard turns out to be a hot prince, that then turns out to be a shapeshifter, then the monster hunter part of the guild gets sent in and will do its job. Now as for the political part, I don't think that adventurer guilds would be an independent actor in basically any country, aside from maybe very decentralized ones, such as people living on the back of fantasy creatures who roam the land, or just horse-riding tribes. Because having so many so well-armed, trained and powerful mercenaries roaming the land with no state control would be something that could spell disaster at any point. Either the nation controls the guild, or the guild controls the nation. In between there should be very little, because more political power would be something that every actor would seek out, even if it was just for their own sake. And under these circumstances, adventurers could be just another social class. Instead of commoners, clerus and the nobility, the adventurers could get their share of power in exchange for defending the nation and other privileges. For example, they don't have to pay taxes, just like the nobility is exempt from taxation. Or maybe it is a more merit-based system, where lowly last-born peasants could fight with noble firstborn sons and daughters and holy men and basically everybody else in order to defend their home. And I think this could even be put on a spectrum. In the regions close to a dangerous forest or a dangerous mountain range, the nations adjacent to them are basically ruled by the adventurer guild. The citizens would have to pay taxes to them instead of the nobility or some sort of council or king, and the laws of the guild would rule the land. For example, only leave the safety of your homestead or your village when you have at least 3 armed persons with you. or every 10th weapon, wagon, horse or bushel of wheat that is produced would be paid to the guild, or something like that. The society would be very martial and militarized, while in the core of the continent, far away from danger, life is more relaxed, and the Adventurer Guild has basically been reduced to the status of a plaything for the aristocrats, or they are just reduced to the status of a local guard for the Merchant Republic in order to protect trade and commerce, not from any truly dangerous beasts, but just from human robbers, bandits, and maybe the odd brigand here and there. And maybe their duties would be more entertaining, like they would organize hunts and have other ceremonial duties. Maybe all that's left of their once proud military are the guys that are now fighting in tournaments for the amusement of the public and the nobility. The danger the natural horde of beasts like a deep forest or a dangerous mountain chain would provide ensures that there will be always some more beasts to purge, while the nations would actually produce battle-hardened warriors that could deal with both the monsters and the soft inlanders, but not both at the same time. And at the same time, their lands are so close to the very dangerous forests and other natural dangers that usually nobody in their right mind would try to conquer them, because then they would have to deal with all of the beasts themselves. But now imagine some aspiring young king would realize that vast amount of gold could be mined in the border regions, or that the rivers and streams would provide enough power and the forest enough lumber to facilitate naval expansion and some sort of mini industrial revolution. And now they actually conquer the border regions, and therefore the until then neutered and badly depleted Guild of the Inlanders now have to actually do their jobs. Something that they haven't done in well over a century or even a millennia. Or maybe the monsters have gotten stronger, or the adventurers weaker, because any sufficiently strong adventurer would travel to the inner nations in order to earn way more as a gladiator, bodyguard or glorified boy toy than they would make by actually fighting monsters. And now the monsters have breached to one of the borderlands and are devouring the inlanders at a record speed. It would make for a very good story, focusing on the importance of institutions, how they atrophy, decay, how they expand and rise to power and prominence, and how one could rebuild such institutions. Or maybe the institution of the Adventurer Guild is the source of the very corruption. Now that there are no more monsters to fight, because they had been so successful, the Adventurer Guild are now secretly breeding them, releasing them into the wild, in order to justify the Adventurer Guild's hold on the power, by creating a threat, a danger to the wider society. So my point is, Adventurer Guilds are awesome, and could and should be way more than just a glorified quest hub. They should hold influence, or in turn be influenced by other powers. There could be struggle, intrigues, political plots, all while normal adventurers just try to do their jobs and keep their homes safe. It would make for a really interesting bunch of stories. And with that said, I say thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you all again soon on my next video. Have a nice day.